Welcome back to Aussie Starcraft for game number 2 in this fantastic series between our red Zerg in the top right hand corner, Scarlett, and our blue Terra in the bottom corner, bottom left corner, EGaLive. And the map is of course Derelict Watcher. This game is game 2 in the series, so if you haven't seen last game, please go and check it out. Don't want it to be spoiled in the cast of this game. It was a fantastic game, so go and give it go and check it out. Alright, spoiler come in game number 1 we saw a fantastic round, 30-minute game between these two players, with Scarlett eventually managing to take the game out with a consistent picking away with the muta play, and managed to have the answer for Alive's composition in the late game. Alive never transitioned away from the biomine play, so was able to get cleaned up in the late game by Scarlett's tier 3 units, the Infestors, the Ultralists, and the Zergling Baneling composition. The Mutalists able to pick away the Medivacs. But all that said, Alive did play fantastically. It was some of the most consistent dropping we've seen in a long time. Almost constant drops in the main and third base. Just able to pick away and do constant damage to Scarlett's players. It was astounding to see that it didn't manage to interrupt her macro. She'd lost something like 30 drones or 35 drones by mid-game. It still just managed to take it in stride and power on, which is an absolute testament to a macro. As a Zerg player, I can tell you the hardest thing is to be consistent with your inject lavas, droning up, keeping your units on, particularly in the face of such heavy aggression. So with such an excellent game 1, I think this game 2 is likely to be just as good. We'll see whether Alive's able to find an answer to Scarlett's macro, or whether he'll fall in a straight series to this dominating Zerg. Scarlett would be one of the best foreign Zerg players in the world at the moment, just demonstrating some absolutely fantastic play in the last couple of months. You can see that Alive's once more gone for the command center on the low ground, and looks like he's unfazed. He thinks he had the right strategy last game, is just going to try and improve upon its execution. But look, Scarlett likewise opening in a similar way. One of the things I think that helped Scarlett so much last round was the fact that her creep spread was so far out into the centre of the map. She could see a lot of Alive's drops coming in and get her forces in position quick enough to respond to those drops, rather than take some of the infrastructure damage that often cripples a Zerg player. Very hard to deal with the aggression Alive was putting on if you're able to pick off those tech structures like the spawning pool and Hydralist Den, etc. Scouting overlords are getting pushed back, and we can see this SCV continuing to try and scout around. Last game it was this SCV that moved up and dropped an engineering bay in the third. Probably has similar intentions now, but with these Zerglings right behind her, it would in fact be a wasted effort. Scarlett once more starting a creep spread early. You can see she's got 3 queens in play, 2 for the hatchery, 1 for the creep spread. I think we'll see a fourth coming out now. There we go. Queen number 4. I've actually mimicked this play a little bit in my own games. Hotkeying my queens for the hatcheries to something like 6, and my creep spreading queens to 5. And then later on I move these to my 3rd and 4th hatcheries. But by that point I have a lot of my creep spread going, which something I learned from watching Scarlett and others play. You can pick up a lot of helpful hints off some of these pro level players. You can see the rest of the wall in coming down from Alive at the moment is supply block, but that'll be fixed when this depot finishes here, and then shouldn't be a problem. Hellion's moving out to kill that annoying Zergling, which dies a fiery death. You can see one Hellion up here in the main making a pest of himself. 1 kill already, but the main damage this is doing is the lost mining time of these drones, having to chase this around. Every second that he keeps this. Oh, second drone, nice pick off there, but it will go down to the Queen's darts. 2 more Hellions moving out. We can see that in response Scarlet's throwing down these evolution chambers. It's a lot cheaper to drop these than it is to continue to lose mining time to the annoying Hellion harass. They just did such an excellent job with the new death animations in Heart of the Swarm. They're just fantastic. It's always fun to see what's going to happen when you have a big conflict in the middle of the map and things are exploding and falling just all over the place. You also get some funny animations when things die sort of in between these spaces. Here on a lot of the maps you see bits and pieces of ships fall and fly and bounce off everything. Just fantastic the level of detail that's gone into the game. So we have the lair finishing up for Scarlet. Third base underway, and quite similar, not quite similar last game. Instead of the Marine force we have a substantial Hellion force moving out into the middle. These blue flame Hellions doing massive damage to this Zergling line and slipping straight into the main. This is going to be devastating for Scarlet. Look at the damage these Hellions are doing. The Zerglings are dead, the drones are exposed. How many workers have gone down already? 7 workers down and more to come. 10 now. Every shot from these Hellions is going to kill a few more. But we can just see massive damage. We have 13 workers killed, but more importantly, what's the unit's loss tab say? Oh, actually dead even. Obviously there's a bit more invested in those Hellions than I thought. But the damage, every time Scarlet's got to rebuild those drones there, it's lava that won't be used to build something else. As you can see, she's not able to mine as heavily on this third base because she hasn't managed to secure a natural yet. As long as those Hellions are slipping into the natural, she can't afford to divide her attention further. If we go to the production tab, we can see her continuing to knock out the Zergling production, and her Spire's now on the way as well. Check out where that is. It's in fact up in the main. And we can see Alive here just poking away with these Hellions, trying to make Scarlet as uncomfortable as possible. He's checking to ensure his third base isn't creep covered. And Scarlet doing a quick flyover of the main to make sure she has the right intel. We have 1-1 on the almost finished now with Stimpack, and we have seven barracks down with expansions, or 2 under construction. And the exact same 2 factories, 1 tech lab, 1 reactor that we saw last game. I imagine quite soon we'll see the drilling claws come out once the armory eventually goes down in time for the next level of upgrades. That'll be the armory there, in time for the 2-2 to start and see the drilling claws upgrade for the Widow Mine. So, as we thought, Alive is very comfortable with his biomine strategy. He thinks that he was close to winning that last game. He just needed to break the back of Scarlet's macro, which he never quite managed to do. I mean, see this worker line's actually very exposed. Currently no Widow Mines, no missile turrets. So a little bit bold considering how heavily we've seen Scarlet go mutilous in the past. Moving a few Marines up temporarily to try and hold that off. I think the effect that this is that more Hellions in the natural. How many workers have gone down? 21 workers killed. It's just doing an excellent job with this harassment, but I think the pressure Scarlet's able to put on with these Mutalists is keeping Alive in his base for a little bit longer this time, much to his detriment. I think there's creeps now at halfway on the map at the 13-minute mark, touching the centre point here. Queen's moving out to drop more tumours. The creep's just going in every conceivable direction. Shortly Scarlet's going to have incredible map vision. Widow Mine here to try and kill these Mutalists. Managed to pick that Widow Mine off nicely before it can fire. And just put pressure on this base. Circling force in the middle of the map. And Scarlett dropping her own 4th base. A few spine crawlers, obviously learnt from last game. Not leaving herself as susceptible to those drops as she is. Only dropping them up here for now. That's because this base is the furthest from her other 3. So she'll defend this one with static defense and try and use her army to defend these points along here. Still poking away with the Mutalisk, unable to get any significant damage. Workers killed 21 to 3. Alive's done an excellent job of keeping his workers alive. But Scarlett just consistently getting these little pickups with Widow Mines here and there, keeping her Overlord nearby to ensure that she doesn't get this cloud destroyed. I was actually watching one of the WCS Season 3 games. There's this phenomenal replay of a Muta cloud with a few Overlords behind it. Unfortunately, because the Overlord's speed is a bit slower than the Mutalisk, the cloud managed to fly over a group of about 8 Widow Mines and just got absolutely decimated, losing the play of the game. Won't spoil who or where it was just hilarious to see that even at such a high level of play, you can have these fundamental little mix-ups, differences in movement speed that can just have catastrophic effect on the outcome of the game. One of the reasons I love StarCraft so much. You have the best players in the world and still there's so much to do that they can still make easy mistakes. Wow, that was a stack of kills on that Widow Mine. Just a second too slow to kill it, firing, detonating to kill what must have been about 10 or 15 Zerglings. Oh, pressure from a drop up here, as predicted, came at the base of the static defense, as this is the furthest point and most exposed. We can see Alive moving up here to try and put some pressure on. Interesting to see him do a second sort of push with this other force, but he is seeming pretty content to leave that at home, but is electing to start to put up his 4th command center. Oh, sorry, 5th command center. He's got a macro CC in his main. Got a very heavy Zergling Baneling force here. Oh, that Widow Mine, so many kills on that Widow Mine. Took out the whole Baneling cloud and just it's going to have a devastating effect. These Marines getting a lot more kills on the Mutalisk than they should, but a few transfuses from those Queens able to save 1 or 2 of those Mutas. You rarely see that. You rarely see the Queens so far out in the field that they're transfusing Mutalisks, but it's I guess one of the perks of just how crazy this creep spread's been from Scarlett. She's been able to just get and keep that creep spread 2/3 of the way across the map, which is giving her just so much advantage with the Zergling and Baneling speed. As long as she's engaging on that creep, she'll tend to get a lot more favourable Zergling and Baneling explosion. Scarlett trying to harass this command centre as it moves into place. They won't quite be able to kill it off, but the Overlord will manage to slow it down until that creep recedes. Just little ways to annoy and get ahead. As the saying goes in StarCraft, when ahead, get further ahead. Scarlett's doing just that, trying to get every little pickup that she can, but Alive, not having a bar of it, still up in the main with more of these drops, dropping between the 4th and the main base, just to pick up as many drone kills he can. He's going to get this Queen, which will impact the macro a little bit. Queen slides back out of the way. And we see yet more drones into the firing line. Alive goes back for the Queen so that he can keep the medevac alive. And we'll see these players start to stabilise on 4 base to 5 base play. This big Marine Marauder force moving out, trying to threaten this new 5th base. It's disturbingly close to Alive. It does look like it'll go down. Scarlett hasn't yet got the infestors on the field that she had last round. try and keep this bio in play. They will kite almost endlessly back and forward, doing phenomenal damage to these Ultralisks. See where are those infestors at? If we go to the units tab, see there's now 2 infestors on the field, so a fungal growth or 2 and Alive could be in substantial trouble. His base does go down and Alive, I think, wisely backs out. Oh, a fungal's gonna kill. Doesn't quite get in position for those fungals. One fungal there on the body of that force would have done phenomenal damage. We can see Alive picking up 2 medevacs full of troops. Scarlett does manage to catch them with the fungal growth and the queens that pick off those units. It's become much harder since the early patch with giving those fungals a move speed. We used to see an almost instantaneous effect, but now it's much more difficult to try and catch those medevacs mid-flight, particularly when they're speed boosting around the map. A few fungals here and there from Scarlett, trying to keep this Terran force in check. We see a Muta Cloud over here trying to threaten the Terran third base. These Widow Mines continuing to do massive damage. 6 kills on that Widow Mine. Probably a lot more on the Widow Mines in the medevac. See this game stabilising now at about 190 supply each, with constant little skirmishes going back and forward. Oh, a few more Widow Mine hits there. And the Widow Mines finally get cleaned up. A few Marines here pushing back the creep. These Ultralisks will give the Marines a nice big cuddle with those claws, and the Marines will die will die a horrible, brutal death. This hungry Ultralisk wandering up into the SCV line, managing to get quite a few worker kills. See Scarlett microing that Ultra to get as many worker kills as possible. These infestors caught out of position though is a real shame. Oh, how many infestors are dying? And having to use a fungal on one of the 2 remaining. I think that's going to be a substantial turning point for Scarlett here in this game. Losing all those infestors really going to hurt her against this bio ball. Being unable to keep them locked in place makes the trades far more effective for the Terran player. See more Broodlords on the way. Unfortunately for Alive with his build, he tends to not get Vikings out in time to deal with these, which is normally quite rare. Terran players normally go for more than 1 starport, particularly with the amount of Muta play that we've been seeing. So unfortunately for Alive, yet again there's Mutalisks on the field and not enough Vikings to deal with them. The reason I think Scarlett's gone for these Broodlords is Alive's gone very heavy on the Marauders. You can see 23 Marauders to the 46 Marines. They're quite a heavy Marauder thing, and that's to counter both the Banelings and the Ultralisks. Marauders do extensive damage to Ultralisks and can soak up a lot of those Baneling hits, but because he's gone for those Marauders and they can't fire up at the Broodlords like the Marines can, he'll end up in quite a poor position against these Broodlords. So we can see Scarlett swapping tech back and forward to try and really put Alive on the back foot. But Alive's doing very well for himself. Units lost heavily favouring Alive, 6,000 difference, and really I think that comes down to losing those infestors, and the way Alive's been able to pick those off gives Scarlett just such a great cost efficiency with the Marauders being able to kite back and forward against these expensive Ultralisks. Having to use fungals to clean clean out those Widow Mines. Some of those Widow Mines have just got a phenomenal amount of Zergling Baneling kills. I'd estimate some of them getting as many as 15 or 20 kills with one detonation. Which, as I said last game, it is one of the very difficult things about Zerg. You have to micro and macro so heavily to keep your army in play, and then you go up against the biomine play, and you've got to be so careful to avoid the marines that you often wander straight into the Widow Mines. This Ultra should be raking in the kills here. The SCV's managing to repair that planetary fortress, keep it in play. Find the workers killed is still 57 to 11. Persistent drops from Alive, really starting to pick Scarlett apart at the edges. We've got both this 4th base and 3rd base under threat at the moment. Able to defend the 4th, but the 3rd does in fact go down. Alive able to pick that one off and retreat with the 4 Marauders. Just doing excellent damage with this constant harassment. We see Alive moving out, trying to secure his next base. And this Widow Mine carefully positioned to try and counter some of these Zergling red mines. See that Zergling fly. Oh, made it all the way off the edge of the platform. Not a good day to be a Zergling. See these Zerglings just sitting down here, stopping the planetary from landing. That's to try and force this massive Terran force out of position. Unlike last game, we can see that Alive's bought himself long enough to knock out these Vikings, and these Broodlords are going to get picked straight off. So I think we'll see a very different fight this game, with Alive managing to muster the late game composition that he needs against Scarlett. He's done an excellent job of adapting the strategy that almost won him the last game, and adapting in such a way to deal with Scarlett's late game play style. Now you can see a burrowed Zergling here preventing this 5th base from going down, but as you can see, Scarlett's down to 200 or 300 minerals, 500 gas, whereas Alive's managed to bank 5,000 minerals, 3,000 gas. The game substantially swung in his favour, and to be honest, I'd have to place that down to those the early infestors getting killed. As you can see, now Scarlett just can't afford to take these engagements. Massive amounts of Vikings to pick off the Broodlords, and this Marine Marauder force in a choke point is going to kill Ultralists all day long. Vikings still killing Broodlords. Scarlett manages to a few good fungal growths to hold this back, but as you can see in the production tab, just consistent production from Alive. Five Vikings at a time, 5 Marauders at a time, 5 Widow Mines at a time. Where is his second starport? He's dropped 2 more starports down here to adapt to these this Broodlord count. It's hilarious when you see an SCV killing a Zergling underground just to try and get this base back. He would have had to build that missile turret, only to find that he still doesn't get to mine. That'd be the most disappointed SCV in the world, saying, "Why me? I built a missile turret, managed to duel a Zergling to death, and you still won't let me have my base." Scarlett's not going down without a fight. 4 or 5 Ultras down here just cleaning up some of those pesky units, but the main Marine Marauder Widow Mine force up here pushing on Scarlett's main mining base. We can see this base down here is mined out. Does have gas income if she needs that, but Scarlett's effectively mining on 1 and apart bases. This base likewise under constant pressure from things like these Marauder drops. If Alive can knock this base out of play and leave Scarlett with only this top base up here, it will be in an excellent position to take this game. So we see Alive's mining heavily on one base and almost mined out his other base. This map's coming down to 1 or 2 available bases left, and just not a good position to be in. See, the Ultras getting here ahead of the Planetary Fortress is going to be enough to clean up a substantial amount of SCVs. 36, 37 SCVs going down. It's an SCV massacre. Not a good day to be an SCV. Unfortunately, having these Ultralists down here has left this base horribly exposed. We see Broodlords, we see Fungal Growths, all trying to take down the Vikings. The Corruptors going down as they try and level the Vikings. We have more Fungal Growths, more Broodlords. Is he going to have enough to hold it? Or maybe it's going to be close. Oh, the Broodling's just enough to push this back. I don't know how Scarlett managed to do that. She managed to hold on even with the Ultralists out of position. We can see that bank has completely emptied from alive, dropping all of that minerals and gas. Yeah. This may have indeed just swung right back into Scarlett's favour. A game that I thought was certainly going to be going to alive. Scarlett's fantastic play has managed to pull it back and just cleaning up these last pockets of resistance. As we can see, Alive's almost completely out of minerals. Only 300 left on that patch, being mined by 16 SCVs. It's the most overworked mineral patch in the game, and Alive GG's out of the game. Well, we can see that Scarlett's now up 2-0 in a best of 5 match. One more game will seal it. If Scarlett can win a third in a row, she will take this series and advance into the next round. We'll see if Alive can muster some resistance to this consistently fantastic macro of Scarlett. This is just some great play we've seen out of her, and we'll see whether she can keep that up, or whether Alive will be able to adapt and win some rounds to bring himself back into this series. I'm still just gobsmacked at how Scarlett managed to pull that back. At one point earlier in the game, we had him up with 4.5 in the bank, a maxed down army in the field, and Scarlett down to almost one mining base, but just magnificent cost efficiency with those Broodlords, managing to keep the Vikings at bay. Just excellent play to win Scarlett a second game in this best of 5 series. Thanks for tuning in to another game of Aussie Starcraft. If you enjoyed it, by all means please subscribe or give the video the old thumbs up. Share it on Facebook and Twitter, and let everyone know that we're casting WCS Season 2. Thanks guys, hope you have a great day. We'll see you next time.